Yogi Berra. Abstract. As manager. As coach. Lawrence Peter, Yogi Berra. May 12, 1925 – September 22, 2015, was an American professional baseball catcher, who later took on the roles of manager and coach. He played 19 seasons in Major League Baseball, MLB, 1946 to 1963, 1965, all but the last for the New York Yankees. He was an 18-time All-Star and won 10 World Series championships as a player, more than any other player in MLB history. Berra had a career batting average of .285, while hitting 358 home runs and 1,430 runs batted in. He is one of only 6 players to win the American League Most Valuable Player award 3 times. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest catchers in baseball history, and was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1972. Berra was a native of St. Louis and signed with the Yankees in 1943 before serving in the United States Navy as a gunner's mate in the Normandy landings during World War II, where he earned a Purple Heart. He made his Major League debut at age 21 in 1946 and was a mainstay in the Yankees lineup during the team's championship years beginning in 1949 and continuing through 1962. Despite his short stature, he was 5 feet 7 inches tall. Berra was a power hitter and strong defensive catcher. Berra played 18 seasons with the Yankees before retiring after the 1963 season. He spent the next year as their manager, then joined the New York Mets in 1965 as coach, and briefly a player again. Berra remained with the Mets for the next decade, serving the last 4 years as their manager. He returned to the Yankees in 1976. Coaching them for 8 seasons and managing for 2, before coaching the Houston Astros. He was one of 7 managers to lead both American and National League teams to the World Series. Berra appeared as a player, coach or manager in every one of the 13 World Series that New York baseball teams won from 1947 through 1981. Overall, he appeared in 22 World Series, 13 on the winning side. Berra caught Don Larson's perfect game in Game 5 of the 1956 World Series. He also holds the all-time record for shutouts caught, with 173. The Yankees retired his uniform number 8 in 1972. Bill Dickey had previously worn number 8, and both catchers had that number retired by the Yankees. The club honored him with a plaque in Monument Park in 1988. Berra was named to the MLB All-Century team in a vote by fans in 1999. For the remainder of his life, he was closely involved with the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center, which he opened on the campus of Montclair State University in 1998. Berra quit school after the 8th grade. He was known for his malapropisms as well as pithy and paradoxical statements, such as, "It ain't over till it's over." While speaking to reporters, he once simultaneously denied and confirmed his reputation by stating, "I really didn't say everything I said." Early life. Yogi Berra was born Lorenzo Pietro Berra in a primarily Italian neighborhood of St. Louis called the Hill. His parents were Italian immigrants Pietro and Paolina, née Longoni. Berra. Pietro was originally from Malvaglio near Milan in northern Italy. He arrived at Ellis Island on October 18, 1909, at the age of 23. In a 2005 interview for the Baseball Hall of Fame, Berra said, "My father came over first. He came from the old country, and he didn't know what baseball was. He was ready to go to work. And then I had 3 other brothers and a sister. My brother and my mother came over later on. My two oldest brothers, they were born there. Mike and Tony. John and I and my sister Josie were born in St. Louis. Berra's parents originally gave him the nickname Lordy, which was derived from his mother's difficulty pronouncing Lawrence or Larry correctly. He grew up on Elizabeth Avenue, across the street from boyhood friend and later competitor Joe Garagiola Sr. That block was also home to Jack Buck early in his Cardinals broadcasting career, and it was later renamed Hall of Fame Place. Berra was a Roman Catholic, and he attended Southside Catholic, now called St. Mary's High School, in South St. Louis with Garagiola. Berra has been inducted into the St. Louis Walk of Fame. He began playing baseball in local American Legion leagues, where he learned the basics of catching while playing both outfield and infield positions. He also played for a Cranston, Rhode Island, team under an assumed name. While playing in American Legion baseball, he received the nickname Yogi from his friend Jack McGuire, who, after seeing a newsreel about India, said that he resembled a yogi from India whenever he sat around with arms and legs crossed waiting to bat or while looking sad after a losing game. Professional baseball career. In 1942, the St. Louis Cardinals overlooked Berra in favor of his boyhood best friend, Joe Garagiola Sr. On the surface, the Cardinals seemed to think that Garagiola was the superior prospect, but team president Branch Rickey actually had an ulterior motive. Rickey already knew that he was going to leave St. Louis to take over the operation of the Brooklyn Dodgers and was more impressed with Berra than he let on. He apparently had planned to hold Berra off until he could sign him for the Dodgers. However, the Yankees signed Berra for the same $500 bonus, $7,824 in 2019 terms. The Cardinals offered Garagiola before Rickey could sign Berra to the Dodgers. During World War II, Berra served in the United States Navy as a gunner's mate on the attack transport USS Bayfield. During the Normandy landings, a second-class seaman, Berra was one of a six-man crew on a Navy rocket boat, firing machine guns and launching rockets at the German defenses on Omaha Beach. He was fired upon, but was not hit, and later received several commendations for his bravery. During an interview on the 65th anniversary of D-Day, Berra confirmed that he was sent to Utah Beach during the D-Day invasion as well. Following his military service, Berra played minor league baseball with the Newark Bears, surprising the team's manager with his talent despite his short stature. He was mentored by Hall of Famer Bill Dickey, whose uniform number Bear took. He later said, "I owe everything I did in baseball to Bill Dickey." Berra was called up to the Yankees and played his first game on September 22, 1946. He played 7 games that season and 83 games in 1947. He played in more than 100 games in each of the following 14 years. Berra appeared in 14 World Series, including 10 World Series championships, both of which are records, in part because Berra's playing career coincided with the Yankees' most consistent period of World Series participation. He established series records for the most games, 75, at-bats, 259, hits, 71, doubles, 10, singles, 49, games caught, 63, and catcher putouts, 457. In Game 3 of the 1947 World Series, Berra hit the first pinch-hit home run in World Series history, off Brooklyn Dodgers pitcher Ralph Branca, who later gave up Bobby Thompson's famous shot heard round the world in 1951. Berra was an All-Star for 15 seasons, and was selected to 18 All-Star games. MLB held 2 All-Star games in 1959 through 1962. He won the American League AL MVP award in 1951, 1954, and 1955. Berra never finished lower than 4th in the MVP voting from 1950 to 1957. He received MVP votes in 15 consecutive seasons, tied with Barry Bonds and second only to Hank Aaron's 19 straight seasons with MVP support. From 1949 to 1955, on a team filled with stars such as Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio, it was Berra who led the Yankees in RBI for 7 consecutive seasons. One of the most notable games of Berra's playing career came when he caught Don Larson's perfect game in the 1956 World Series, the first of only 2 no-hitters ever thrown in MLB postseason play. The picture of Berra leaping into Larson's arms following Dale Mitchell's called third strike to end the game is one of the sport's most memorable images. Berra was excellent at hitting pitches outside of the strike zone, covering all areas of the strike zone, as well as beyond, with great extension. In addition to this wide plate coverage, he also had great bat control. He was able both to swing the bat like a golf club to hit low pitches for deep home runs and to chop at high pitches for line drives. Whether changing speeds or location, pitcher Early Wynn soon discovered that Berra moves right with you. 5 times. Berra had more home runs than strikeouts in a season, striking out just 12 times in 597 at-bats in 1950. The combination of bat control and plate coverage made Berra a feared clutch hitter. Proclaimed by rival manager Paul Richards the toughest man in the league in the last 3 innings. Contrasting him with teammate Mickey Mantle, Wynn declared Berra the real toughest clutch hitter, grouping him with Cleveland slugger Al Rosen as the 2 best clutch hitters in the game. As a catcher, Berra was outstanding, quick, mobile, and a great handler of pitches. Berra led All-American League catches 8 times in games caught and in chances accepted, 6 times in double plays, a major league record, 8 times in putouts, 3 times in assists, and once in fielding percentage. Berra left the game with the AL records for catcher putouts, 8,723, and chances accepted, 9,520. He was also one of only 4 catchers ever to field 1.000 in a season, playing 88 errorless games in 1958. He was the first catcher to leave one finger outside his glove, a style that most other catchers eventually emulated. At age 37 in June 1962, Berra showed his superb physical endurance by catching an entire 22-inning, 7-hour game against the Detroit Tigers. Casey Stengel, Berra's manager during most of his playing career with the Yankees and with the Mets in 1965, once said, "I never play a game without my man." Later in his career, Berra became a good defensive outfielder in Yankee Stadium's notoriously difficult left field. After spending 1963 as a player coach, he appeared in 64 games, 35 as a catcher and 29 as a pinch hitter, batting .293 in 164 at-bats, and held down the Yanks' first base coaching job otherwise. Berra retired as an active player after the 1963 World Series and was immediately named to succeed Ralph Houck as manager of the Yankees. An unforgettable incident, called the Harmonica Incident, occurred on board the team bus in August 1964. Following a loss, infielder Phil Linz was playing his harmonica, and Berra ordered him to stop. Seated on the other end of the bus, Linz could not hear what Berra had said, and Mickey Mantle impishly informed Linz. He said to play it louder. When Linz did so, An angry Berra slapped the harmonica out of his hands. All was apparently forgotten when the Yankees rode a September surge to return to the World Series. But the team lost to the St. Louis Cardinals in 7 games, after which Berra was fired. Houck, who was general manager at the time, later said the decision to fire Berra was made in late August and that the incident with Lintz had nothing to do with it. Although he didn't elaborate, Houck said that he and the rest of the Yankee brain trust did not feel Berra was ready to manage players. However, said the incident actually solidified his managerial authority and helped him lead them to the series. Berra was immediately signed by the crosstown New York Mets as a coach. He also put in 4 cameo appearances as a catcher early in the season. His last at-bat came on May 9, 1965, just 3 days shy of his 40th birthday. Berra stayed with the Mets as a coach under Stengel, Wes Westrom, and Gil Hodges for the next 7 seasons, including their 1969 World Series championship season. He then became the team's manager in 1972, following Hodges' unexpected death in spring training. The following season looked like a disappointment at first. Injuries plagued the Mets throughout their season. Midway through the 1973 season, the Mets were stuck in last place but in a very tight divisional race. In July, when a reporter asked Yogi if the season was over, he replied, "It ain't over till it's over." As the Mets' key players came back to the lineup, a late surge allowed them to win the NL East despite an 82-79 record, making it the only time from 1970 through 1980 that the NL East was not won by either their rival, Philadelphia Phillies, or the Pittsburgh Pirates. When the Mets faced the 99-win Cincinnati Reds in the 1973 National League Championship Series, a memorable fight erupted between Bud Harrelson and Pete Rose in the top of the 5th inning of Game 3. After the incident and the ensuing bench-clearing brawl had subsided, fans began throwing objects at Rose when he returned to his position in left field in the bottom half of the inning. Sparky Anderson pulled Rose and his Reds off the field until order was restored. When National League President Chub Feeney threatened the Mets with a forfeit, Berra walked out to left field with Willie Mays, Tom Seaver, Rusty Staub, and Cleon Jones in order to plead with the fans to desist. Yogi's Mets went on to defeat the highly favored Big Red Machine in 5 games to capture the NL pennant. It was Berra's second as a manager, 1 in each league. The Mets fell to the Oakland Athletics in the 1973 World Series, but they went the distance in a close-fought 7-game series. Berra's tenure as Mets manager ended with his firing on August 5, 1975. He had a record of 298 wins and 302 losses, which included the 1973 postseason. In 1976, he rejoined the Yankees as a coach. The team won its first of 3 consecutive AL titles, as well as the 1977 World Series and 1978 World Series. And, as had been the case throughout his playing days, Berra's reputation as a lucky charm was reinforced. Casey Stengel once said of his catcher, "He'd fall in a sewer and come up with a gold watch." Berra was named Yankee manager before the 1984 season. Berra agreed to stay in the job for 1985 after receiving assurances that he would not be terminated. But the impatient Steinbrenner reneged, firing Berra anyway after the 16th game of the season. Moreover, instead of firing him personally, Steinbrenner dispatched Clyde King to deliver the news for Hi Monsieur. The incident caused a rift between Berra and Steinbrenner that was not mended for almost 15 years. Berra joined the Houston Astros as bench coach in 1985. where he again made it to the NLCS in 1986. The Astros lost the series in 6 games to the Mets. Berra remained a coach in Houston for 3 more years, retiring after the 1989 season. He finished his managerial career with the regular season record of 484-444 and a playoff record of 9-10. After George Steinbrenner ventured to Berra's home in New Jersey to apologize in person for having mishandled Berra's firing as Yankee manager, Berra ended his 14-year estrangement from the Yankee organization in 1999 and worked in spring training camp with catcher Jorge Posada. Honors. In 1972, Berra was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. The No. 8 was retired in 1972 by the Yankees, jointly honoring Berra and Bill Dickey, his predecessor as the Yankees' star catcher. On August 22, 1988, Berra and Dickey were honored with plaques to be hung in Monument Park at Yankee Stadium this year. Berra's plaque calls him a legendary Yankee, and cites his most frequent quote, "It ain't over till it's over." However, the honor was not enough to shake Berra's conviction that Steinbrenner had broken their personal agreement. Berra did not set foot in the stadium for another decade, until Steinbrenner publicly apologized to Berra. In 1996, Berra received an honorary doctorate from Montclair State University, which also named its own campus stadium Yogi Berra Stadium, opened in 1998. In his honor, the stadium is also used by the New Jersey Jackals, an independent professional baseball team this year. In 1998, Berra appeared at No. 40 on the Sporting News list of the 100 greatest baseball players, and fan balloting elected him to the Major League Baseball All-Century team this year at the 2008 All-Star Game at Yankee Stadium. Berra had the honor of being the last of the 49 Hall of Famers in attendance to be announced. The hometown favorite received the loudest standing ovation of the group. On July 18, 1999, Berra was honored with Yogi Berra Day at Yankee Stadium this year. Don Larson threw the ceremonial first pitch to Berra to honor the perfect game of the 1956 World Series. The celebration marked the return of Berra to the stadium after the end of his 14-year feud with Yankees owner George Steinbrenner. The feud had started in 1985 when Steinbrenner, having promised Berra the job of Yankees manager for the entire season, fired him after just 16 games. Berra then vowed never to return to Yankee Stadium as long as Steinbrenner owned the team this year. On that day, Yankees pitcher David Cone threw the perfect game against the Montreal Expos, only the 16th time it had ever been done in Major League history. In 2008, Berra was inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. In 1998, the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center and Yogi Berra Stadium, home of the New Jersey Jackals and Montclair State University baseball teams, opened on the campus of Montclair State University in Upper Montclair, New Jersey. The museum is the home of various artifacts, including the mitt with which Yogi caught the only perfect game in World Series history, several autographed game-used items, and 9 of Yogi's championship rings. Berra was involved with the project and frequently visited the museum for signings, discussions, and other events. It was his intention to teach children important values such as sportsmanship and dedication on and off the baseball diamond. On October 8, 2014, a break-in and theft occurred at the museum, and several of Berra's World Series rings and other memorabilia were stolen. On November 24, 2015, Berra was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously by President Barack Obama in a ceremony at the White House attended by members of Berra's family, who accepted the award on his behalf. At the ceremony, the president said, "Today we celebrate some extraordinary people, innovators, artists and leaders who contribute to America's strength as a nation." Celebrating Berra's military service and remarkable baseball career, Obama used one of Berra's famous Yogiisms, saying, "One thing we know for sure. If you can't imitate him, don't copy him, monsieur." Other activities. Berra and former teammate Phil Rizzuto were partners in a bowling alley venture in Clifton, New Jersey, originally called Rizzuto Berra Lanes. The two eventually sold their stakes in the alley to new owners, who changed its name to Astro Bowl before selling the property to a developer, who closed the bowling alley in 1999 and converted it into retail space. Berra was also involved in causes related to his Italian-American heritage. He was a longtime supporter of the National Italian-American Foundation, NIAF, and helped fundraise for the foundation. He was inducted into the Italian-American Hall of Fame in 2004. Berra was a recipient of the Boy Scouts of America's highest adult award, the Silver Buffalo Award. Based on his style of speaking, Yogi was named Wisest Fool of the Past 50 Years by The Economist magazine in January 2005. In the 2007 television miniseries The Bronx is Burning, Berra was portrayed by actor Joe Grifasi. In the HBO sports docudrama 61 *, Berra was portrayed by actor Paul Borghese, and Hank Steinberg's script included more than one of Berra's famous Yogi ISMs. In 2009, Berra appeared in the documentary film A Time for Champions, recounting his childhood memories of soccer in his native St. Louis. Yogi and his wife Carmen were played by real-life newly married actors Peter Scolari and Tracy Shane in the 2013 Broadway play Bronx Bombers. Personal life. Berra married Carmen Short on January 26, 1949. They had 3 sons and were longtime residents of Montclair, New Jersey, until Carmen's declining health caused them to move into a nearby assisted living facility. Berra's sons also played professional sports. Dale Berra played shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates, New York Yankees, managed by Yogi in 1984-85, and Houston Astros. Tim Berra played pro football for the Baltimore Colts in the 1974 NFL season, and Larry Berra played for 3 minor league teams in the New York Mets organization. Carmen Berra died on March 6, 2014, of complications from a stroke, at age 88. The couple had recently celebrated their 65th anniversary. Following Carmen's death, the house in Montclair was listed for sale at $888,000, a reference to Yogi's uniform number. Death. Berra died in his sleep at the age of 90 of natural causes in West Caldwell, New Jersey, on September 22, 2015, to 69 years to the day after his MLB debut. The Yankees added a number 8 patch to their uniforms in honor of Berra, and the Empire State Building was lit with vertical blue and white Yankee pinstripes on September 23. New York City lowered all flags in the city to half-staff for a day in tribute. A moment of silence was held before the September 23 games of the Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, Mets, Nationals, Tigers, Pirates, and his hometown St. Louis Cardinals, as well as the ALPB's Long Island Ducks. The Yogi Berra Museum held a tribute on October 4. Berra's funeral services were held on September 29, and were broadcast by the Yes Network. His ashes were interred next to his wife Carmen at the Gate of Heaven Cemetery in East Hanover, New Jersey. Berra's longtime friend, Joe Garagiola Sr., who lived in the same neighborhood as Berra when they were young, died 6 months later on March 23, 2016. And Berra's Yankee teammate Don Larson, who pitched the only perfect game in World Series history and was the only surviving member of the 1956 game at the time of Berra's death, died on January 1, 2020, when both men were 90 years old, the same age as Berra. Legacy. Berra was also well known for his impromptu pithy comments, malapropisms, and seemingly unintentional witticisms, known as Yogi ISMS. His Yogi ISMS very often took the form of either an apparent tautology or a contradiction, but often with an underlying and powerful message that offered not just humor, but also wisdom. Monsieur Alan Berra has described them as distilled bits of wisdom which, like good country songs and old John Wayne movies, get to the truth in a hurry. In popular culture, the name of the cartoon character Yogi Berra, which first appeared in 1958, was similar enough to Berra's name that he considered suing Hanna-Barbera. But Hanna-Barbera claimed that the similarity of the names was just a coincidence. Berra's obituary by the Associated Press initially said that Yogi Berra had died